Alright, what is up guys, and welcome back to Nwadei MMA, where I give you my thoughts, but more importantly, ask for you guys' thoughts because you guys are the MMA community, and there's always something going down in the MMA community, am I right? Today, however, we are going to be talking about Paulo Costa versus Strickland at UFC 302 in New Jersey. We've already talked about Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier on this card, the headliner, the main event. If you have not seen that video already, go ahead and check it out. It is my latest video, along with UFC 304 being announced, because we also talked about that as well. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in to the channel. Thank you for watching this video, and also thank you guys for subscribing and supporting the content. It means a lot. We just reached 2,000 subscribers here on Nwadei MMA for the third time, so it's a big landmark for me, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. But now, what we've all been waiting for.
This is Noah Nwadei!
UFC 302's co-main event, Strickland versus Paulo Costa. Before we get into the film study and the breakdown of this fight, because we will go in depth with all of that analysis, but before we do that, we gotta preview this fight a little bit and talk about what's been going on. So Strickland ends up beating Uriah in order to win the belt, right? He kind of got that title shot in a weird spot. It was supposed to go to Dricus. Dricus didn't want it. He took it on like, what, 4 weeks notice. Ends up beating Uriah, and then he loses the belt. He loses it to Dricus du Plessis, the person he stole the title shot from. And in doing so, the hot cup of coffee, as we know him on this channel, right? The controversy of the middleweight division, ends up losing his belt to Dricus du Plessis in a very close fight, of course, but granted, I was on the side of the two judges who scored it for Dricus du Plessis. Now, this is something that is very intriguing when talking about Strickland, because, and we'll get to Paulo Costa in a second, but what's so intriguing about Strickland is the fact that he's always in these close fights. He's always in these split decisions. Don't you realize that, right? And it's not so much that people are against him, so that he been unlike he believes. It's more his style, right? He's a volume striker. We all know that. He has a very active jab, right? He almost kind of point fights people. He stays in the pocket and he throws every time you throw. Every time you hit him with something, he's gonna answer you back, and he's gonna keep the strike totals very close. So generally, if you are striking harder than him, or you're a power puncher like a Cannonier, Dricus du Plessis, or a Paulo Costa, who he's fighting now, which is also what makes it interesting, you might win on the judges' scorecards because they count damage over activity. Even though it might look like Strickland's doing more, he's not. Add that in with the fact that he has good grappling but doesn't use it, and we have the dilemma of Strickland. Now moving on to Paulo Costa, coming off of a close loss to Robert Whittaker. I mean, that was maybe the best Paulo Costa we've ever seen, in my opinion. I mean, the speed on his high kicks, the actual thought process behind his kicks, the fact that he threw a spinning crescent kick to rock and almost knock out Robert Whittaker, right? And just the back and forth between them, honestly, it really impressed me, because I thought Robert Whittaker would be able to dominate him a little bit more than he was able to. But then again, Paulo Costa hasn't fought in so long, we kind of forgot what kind of dominant force the racer really is, right? And so the dynamic between him and Strickland is gonna be the power striker versus the volume striker, and we're gonna see that when we break down their fights. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to support the content by liking, commenting your thoughts down below as you watch the video, and subscribing, of course. But the way we like to do things on this channel and break down fights is that I like to pick out 2 or 3 of their fights, something that they did wrong, something that they're doing well, talk about their styles based off of those fights, and then I like to break down their keys to victory in order to win those fights for each fighter. And at the end of the video, I'll give my official prediction. But with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in again. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the body type breakdown of Paulo Costa versus Strickland. For this fight, Strickland is the more experienced fighter, having nearly double, matter of fact, exactly double Paulo Costa's fights in MMA. Half of his career was down at welterweight, as some of us know. They're both coming off of a loss. Sean Strickland's coming off that loss to Dricus du Plessis, and Paulo's coming off that loss to Robert Whittaker. We know that. They're both standing tall at 6'1". Paulo Costa's probably going to be the bigger man. Definitely going to be the bigger man. And Sean Strickland is going to be the longer fighter with a 76-inch reach compared to Paulo Costa's 72 and a 41.5-inch leg reach compared to Paulo Costa's 39.5. Paulo is a stocky guy, right? That's why he is constantly coming forward. That's why people are always trying to use the jab against him. You saw his fight with Uriah, where Israel did very good with the low kicks and the jab in order to negate all of Paulo's everything, right? Even Robert Whittaker had to use the jab against him just to keep that man off of him. Marvin Vettori, I mean, the list goes on. But Paulo Costa's style, based off of everything we see and what we might see with him coming into this fight against Sean Strickland, well, based off that fight with Robert Whittaker, we know that his kicks are much faster and they're much more educated, and we can assume that he's going to be trying to kick the legs and head of Sean Strickland. The body, I'm not so sure about, because Sean does a very good job of blocking round kicks to the body, but we can also assume that Paulo Costa is going to be a marauder in this fight, try and come forward, try to get him against the cage and just punish him, right? That's what Paulo Costa does. He's an eraser. On the other hand, with Sean Strickland, we know he's going to use the jab, right? We know that he's almost a boxer in an MMA uniform a little bit. Yeah, he uses the jab, that MMA hybrid Philly shell. He uses his lead leg teep a lot. He really doesn't throw the back leg push kick that much. He doesn't throw many round kicks. Every now and again he might kick the leg, but generally he likes to almost fight like a flamingo a little bit, stay on that one leg, keep checking, keep throwing that push kick out there in order to get you backing up. But then he adds up on the jabs, he adds up on the volume in the later rounds. He has an endless gas tank. He has good defensive grappling. He doesn't really use it that much offensively. And yeah, that pretty much sums up Sean Strickland, right? If we look at the significant strikes, Sean Strickland lands 6 and Paulo, they both kind of land the same amount of significant strikes per minute. Paulo Costa's being a little bit higher, but his percentage being a little bit better. He also absorbs more strikes than Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland has a lot of volume, but often doesn't get touched that much, right? Has a 62% significant strike defense to Paulo Costa's 47%. So Sean Strickland would be deemed as the better defensive striker. However, I would deem Paulo Costa as the better offensive striker. As far as the odds go in this fight, Sean Strickland is minus 200 favorite, probably coming from him being a champion, beating Israel Adesanya, striking, and they only assume this fight is going to be striking, and Paulo Costa is not as good of a striker as Israel Adesanya. I can see where they get the minus 200, but Paulo Costa is a plus 170, and this is very interesting based off of how Sean Strickland likes to fight these type of fighters. And what I mean by that is, you're going to see this in the film, and we're about to get into the film study right now. I don't like to take too long on these. I just like to give you guys an in-depth fight analysis coming from myself, MMA fighter, and a guy who's been around the game a while. But the way Sean Strickland likes to fight these guys, and he's even said it himself when talking about the difference between Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya. He was saying that Izzy's not really trying to hurt you. He's kind of trying to outpoint you or just keep you off of him, while Alex Pereira is trying to kill you when he hits you. And that was the difference, and that was gonna be the difference in their fight, and we kind of saw that. But you go back to his fight with Cannonier, which we're gonna watch. He didn't come forward as much. He didn't try and press the deal as much. Matter of fact, he was very defensive early, and that's probably what lost him the fight. And it's because he just didn't want to get knocked out, and I don't blame him. But he has this approach when going against more powerful strikers. Against Dricus du Plessis, it was hard to see him backing up Dricus du Plessis. I mean, it didn't really happen much. He also has a little bit of a problem when people switch stances on him and go southpaw, because it negates his jab a little bit. But we're going to be talking about all of these and how they relate to Paulo Costa, because while Paulo is a pressure fighter, he hits very hard. He doesn't really switch that much, and we haven't seen him be as educated as a Cannonier or Dricus du Plessis in the past. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the film study for Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa, starting off with Paulo Costa and his fight with Uriah Hall. Now, the reason I chose this fight to start off with is because Uriah Hall actually did a really good job of using the jab against Paulo Costa. He ended up kind of abandoning it later on, but it doesn't discard the fact that he used it very well. It was something that Paulo had to deal with, and this was Paulo when he was coming up the ranks hungry and really trying to put a pace on a guy like Uriah Hall. Big body kick from Paulo. Paulo doesn't throw those blank body kicks anymore. He used to throw them without much setup, and they were slow, and you could just see them, but they just hurt anyways, whether you block them or catch them or just let them hit you. But now they're a lot quicker, a lot snappier. Now Uriah's doing a good job of kind of just kicking his legs, keeping the range, setting him up, almost wanting Paulo to start trying to pressure him. He's just poking at him, poking the bear. A lot of hand fighting. There's the first jab and the second. It's a pretty quick jab from Uriah, and it's coming from that low angle, the same way Sean Strickland's will. It'll kind of come up and it's hard to see. He is also circling off to the left every time he throws that jab. And you see Paulo Costa, that's a hole right there that we're gonna see in this fight with Sean Strickland, or not a hole, but something to be exploited, because every time Sean Strickland, and you're gonna see this in the Jared Cannonier fight, but every time Sean Strickland threw that jab, Jared Cannonier would kick right afterwards, because he would notice that Sean's circling to the left, and usually he doesn't step off, he pivots, and because that leg is still on the ground, the calf is right there to be kicked. And so Paulo doing that is a good sign. Came over that jab with the overhand. Paulo's nose is already bloodied, you can see this, but it's not stopping him from trying to come forward. It was a good 3-2. Uriah's a big guy too. He's not a small guy. A lot of hand fighting. Some more wide punches. Good couple of jabs by Uriah Hall. Uriah was also doing a good job of hand fighting with Paulo Costa, which is something that I don't see Sean Strickland doing too much of. He does use the high guard where he goes like this, blocks a lot of wide punches because they'll just hit his arms or his shoulders. He also uses this Philly shell and moves straight back a lot. But yeah, I don't see him hand fighting too much with Paulo, so it's not going to be a slowed down pace, kind of like we're seeing. Uriah Hall is doing that to slow him down, to occupy his hands while Paulo's moving forward. That way, even if he does move forward, he's moving forward into a strike or something. Paulo right away. And dude, Paulo throws everything so goddamn hard. He throws everything so hard. I mean, God, you don't want to have your back against the cage with this guy. And you're gonna see, another reason I wanted to show you this old fight is because you're gonna see the difference between Paulo Costa then and Paulo Costa now. Good jabs from Uriah Hall. It did stop Paulo in his tracks from getting into that boxing range. The jab is probably a lot better than hand fighter with him. Oh man, but yeah, you get your back against the cage. Look how he's ripping that body too. Oh God, man, tries to cut you off with kicks. Oh damn. Yeah, Paulo is a marauder. Especially back in the day, man. He didn't get the nickname the Eraser for no reason. I mean, look at, if you stay against the cage with this guy, you get tired, show one bit of fatigue. The thing is, he throws hard, but he doesn't get tired really. And the only time I really saw him kind of get tired was against Luke Rockhold, or Whittaker, right? But they were both tired. That was at altitude. And even still, he was more active and beat Luke Rockhold with all that fatigue. Boom. Oh my God. He's also gonna look to come over that jab. We can see that. Ref's warning him about his fingers. And we're not gonna watch all of the entirety of these fights. We're just gonna watch the parts that we're gonna break down. However, this one did not last very long. It was about a round of, oh my God. Overhand, then double hook to the body. They're saying that one hit his cup a little bit. And you can see that Paulo's just pulling away from that cross every time. It's hard to strike with Paulo going backwards. You have to step into range because he backs straight up a lot. He doesn't really use a high guard. He'll just back straight up, look to parry. You got to be tricky with how you fight him going backwards. There's a lot of jabs from Uriah, just touching the leg, and Paulo's back on the jab. Good job getting his head off the center line. Paulo, ooh, it's a good 3-2 body kick. Even though he caught it, that shit hurts. One thing I will say is Uriah Hall is trying to use, like, everything he throws, he's trying to hurt Paulo with, and you're not going to be able to do that. And Sean Strickland is also not going to do that. He's just going to touch you, and he's going to be there. That was a good takedown from Uriah Hall. Paulo gets right back up. Oof. Body kick. But yeah, Sean Strickland is just going to touch you. Oh, man. He's just in your face constantly the whole time. Good jab. Oh, they're both exchanging jabs. Paulo goes to the body with it. Now he's using that high guard a little bit. Uriah misses. You can see the fatigue. These are all just get off me punches, man. He needs to put something together. Oh, Paulo Costa got caught by that cross coming in. Both exchange jabs again. Paulo recovered quick. Looks like Paulo's tired of going backwards now. He's just gonna walk forward. Oh, man. Oh. And now he's gonna unload. Jeez, that is just vicious. God, what a combination. That shot that dropped, Paulo kind of landed behind the ear. Paulo also kind of slipped. But yeah, so that's his fight with Uriah Hall. And now let's look at that in comparisons to Paulo's fight with Robert Whittaker, because there is a big contrast. So right away you see he's less willing just to try and walk him down. There's a little bit more space in between them, more respect for the boxing range. Immediately went from the leg to the head kick, and it's at least I checked that kick as well. That was good from Paulo, and that was a fast head kick too. Good jab to left hook from Paulo. He landed that. Yeah, you can see a lot more dexterity on his kicks as well. He's not leaning as much with them. They're just kind of snapping up there, which is why he's able to go to the head so much more than going to the body like he did in the previous fight. Again, he's trying to connect on that 1-3 combination, trying to set up that right hand, which I think would actually be very effective against Sean Strickland. Don't forget that he got knocked out by Alex Pereira with a left hook. I think what's really going to be key though in this fight is him going to the body of Sean Strickland. Since Sean Strickland likes to back out of range a lot of times, the body is available. And we all know how Paulo Costa likes to punish the body if he could get in range. He just caught Robert over the jab with his cross. Oh man, that's a good cross from Robert. This is not the style he's gonna fight with Sean Strickland. The reason I'm choosing this fight is just because we haven't seen Paulo Costa fight in so long, right? So you're only as good as your last fight, and this was his last fight. So I want to see his style, his improvements based off of this fight. That's why I'm choosing this one. Robert Whittaker has a completely different style from Sean Strickland. Robert Whittaker's style is darting in and out, lots of usage of head kicks as well. It's that in and out style, while Sean Strickland is almost a sparring match in the pocket the whole time, either backing you down or using good footwork stand on the outside, but constantly popping that jab. Very different from Robert Whittaker, who's more trying to trick you. Sean Strickland, he's more trying to get you in his rhythm, in his tempo, and then try and beat you at his own game. Oh, that's a good uppercut from Robert. See, Rob you see how he explodes in and out of range. It's a lot trickier than Sean Strickland. Oh, that's a good calf kick from Paulo. Oh, that was a good 2-1 from Rob. That backed him up. Paulo was caught going straight backwards. The forward combination we see most often from Sean Strickland is his 1-3-2. That's like, if he's throwing a 3-punch combination, that's probably what he's throwing, and the 2 is more like an overhand or a corkscrew cross, which means it's coming down on you. And so Paulo, when he's circling right or it's that left hook, stay on the lookout for. That was a good leaping in 1-2 from Rob. Low kick. I want you to see something though. When they're staring at each other, okay, you see how much space is in between them? Now, real quick, I'm gonna get out of this fight, and I want you to see this. Look at this space. So look at this space between Sean Strickland and Jared Cannonier. Look how close their feet are together. Look at the void, the space between them, versus this space. It's a lot bigger, right? This is what I meant. Robert Whittaker, he likes to stay out at this kicking range, and then he'll cross that void super fast, or he'll continue to circle out. That was a good jab from Paulo. That's a good 1-3-2 from Robert Whittaker. Switch stance in the middle of that. Paulo looked like he's gotten a little bit tired. Oh, and then throws that bullshit. Oh, and then lands. Oh, and if he has you hurt, look how he was trying to close the show. Oh my god. Yeah, that was not telegraphed, man. That shit was so quick. Just as I thought he was getting tired, bro. He would have knocked my ass out with that. Look. Bang. No telegraph. No telegraph. Think about it. When people telegraph this leg, you'll see step, right? It'll step to the outside of Robert Whittaker's lead leg. He doesn't step to the outside. He just puts it down, boom. He's not outside of the leg. If anything, he's on top of it. Puts it down. Robert Whittaker does not see it, and bang. Hits him with a crescent kick, a spinning crescent kick. I broke that one down not too long ago, right after this fight. But yeah, spinning crescent kick for the win, huh? Beautiful. And that's educated, man. If that would have been the heel though, it would have been done for. And the reason why it's a crescent, just to give you guys some insight, is because he's hitting with the side of the foot rather than the heel. If he turned it over just a little bit to where he was hitting with the back of the Achilles or the heel, that would have been a spinning heel kick, or hook kick, should I say. See how he comes out for round 2. That was a good calf kick from Rob. That's a good tip from Paulo. Good jab. I think that tip would be pretty important for Paulo to implement against Sean Strickland. We saw Bruce Magomedov have a lot of success with that. Oh, good head kick. That almost landed clean. Good snap and jab from Paulo. Busted out Rob's nose. Another good calf kick. I like what he's doing here. Just jab, calf kick, jab, calf kick. Not wasting energy. Not forcing the action. Not trying to cross that void recklessly. More educated than that Uriah Hall fight. You saw Uriah Hall darting with that cross a couple of times. Ooh, good teep. Rob's nose is busted up. Also not moving straight back. Oh, it's an eye poke. Ooh, it's a good 2-1 from Rob again. Man, tricky head kick. Points the knee. You don't know if it's coming to the body or the head. Bang, snaps to the head last second. That's if you're a Taekwondo guy or you've studied a lot of kicks, that's a good kick, man. It's hiding it very well, which is something that people haven't been able to do yet against Sean Strickland. We haven't seen him get caught by that big head kick with that Philly shell that he has. You're susceptible to it, but we haven't seen it yet. Izzy tried to take advantage of it, but Eric Nixick, his coach, was very hip to it. Anyways, so we see the improvements that Paulo Costa has made. More educated, better defensively, not just walking across distance, right? And so now getting into his keys to victories, Paulo Costa's keys to victory. In order to win this fight against Sean Strickland, I think it's going to be very important that for his first key to victory, he goes to the body, man. The body, just not headhunting, is going to be very important in this fight. Sean Strickland, man, if there's one thing that he does very well, it's protect his own noggin. Right, he protects his head very well. All the sparring rounds, everything that he does is just to protect his brain, right? Oftentimes he doesn't care about his leg getting fucked up or damaged. You'll see that in some of the fights we break down. He does care about his body getting beat up, and that's why you're gonna go to it. So the reason why I'm saying that, he prioritizes his head over everything else, but his body's gonna be available. Sean Strickland, you see when he backs out of range, he leans back all the time. He has that Philly shell, he's parrying, he's covering, right? But he leans back out of range, which leaves the body and the legs open. However, he does check a lot of kicks, so the legs might not be there all the time. And generally on Sean Strickland, you want to go to the legs when he is throwing that jab and being very active, trying to almost plant and set his feet with that jab. That's when you want to go to the legs with Sean. Other than that, I think he should jab up high, get him leaning backwards, and go down to the body. I think that's the beautiful first key to victory. For the second key to victory, for Paulo Costa, we just mentioned it, counter that jab with the leg kicks. I think that going after Sean Strickland's calf on his lead leg, which is his good leg, people forget about that. He injured his other one in a motorcycle accident. May force him to either switch stance or will force him to really start coming forward, to stay on that one leg, to have that more of that flamingo kind of fighting style, to where he's on one leg coming forward. And the bad thing about being on one leg is that it's very hard to defend yourself there. His defense gets exponentially worse when he's on one leg, worrying about the leg kicks and checks and things like that, because Philly shell is no good if you don't have the legs to move your upper body and torso. If you're just on one leg, you're Philly shelling up, you're just waiting to be hit in your shell. And so I think kicking the legs is going to set up the high kicks for Paulo Costa, which I think will also be imperative in this fight. And the third key to victory that I have for Paulo Costa, that I absolutely doubt he's going to use, but would be very advantageous, would be wrestle, man. He takes that tall stance. We saw it against Dricus du Plessis, and I had the same game plan for Dricus, to wrestle. You don't need to hold him down. You don't need to do anything other than disrupting his rhythm, disrupting his little mini game that he's trying to play. And he likes to lull you into this rhythm, lull you into this tempo, and get you fighting it the whole fight. And if you're not careful, you will be fighting his game the whole fight, like it was constantly going backwards, right? And so I think it's very imperative that he kicks the legs, goes to the body, doesn't headhunt, and then he'll also take him down. It might help him win rounds against Sean Strickland, who is almost inevitably gonna fight to a decision, but it will also disrupt his game plan. If you can stay on top, you'll be able to wear him out and do damage there. So I think those are the keys to victories for Paulo Costa in order to win this fight. What do you guys think about that? Comment down below your keys to victories that you have for Paulo Costa in order to win this fight. Let me know who you guys got as well, and let's move on. So going into Sean Strickland's keys or film study before we get into his keys to victory. First, we're gonna go ahead and watch his fight against Jared Cannonier. So some of you might not have known what I meant when I say he comes out very soft against, or very slow against, heavy hitters. It's normal to be this jittery in the first couple of rounds because people carry their power very early, right? But just try and see how much he's really throwing. Very defensive. Throws a jab, gets out of the way, constantly circling, blocks that high kick. That was good from Jared Cannonier to try and just tap the leg and then set up his hands with it. But Sean was aware of it. Very good defensively. That was a good left hook. He landed. Again, leaning back. You see that? Let's go back. Every time Jared throws, he leans back just like this, using that Philly shell, which makes it hard to come over the top. But you know what is wide open? The body. Right there at the rib cage. Bang. And Jared would take advantage of that. Again, leaning back, right? Jared takes advantage of that later, and we'll get to that. Again, I don't want to watch the whole 5-round fight. There's the teep from Sean. I just want to really show you this first round, because first rounds, man, they play a big part in the way that the fight is gonna play out, man. They really do. If you get hurt in that first round, you break your orbital, you break your nose. We saw what it did with Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway, right? For recent fights, the first round dictates a lot. If you could stay safe, or if you get hurt, could change the whole fight. Now it looks like Sean wants to come forward a little bit more. He's still snapping that jab. It's almost more just trying to keep Jared off of him. He's not trying to hurt him. It doesn't seem like he's really trying to set anything up. He's just like, okay, let me let him get tired while I'm playing my mini game very defensively, and then I'll start to add on my mini game later. Right now, let me not show him much. Let me just back out of range. Oh, but there's a 3-2 that lands, and this is when he got his back against the cage and try to, you see what I mean? When you go on one leg like that. So right here, he backs to the cage, he circles out. Jared does a little hop, which makes Sean Strickland think kick, because he's been trying to go after that kick all first round. Strickland picks his leg up. He's on one leg here, which makes him just a sitting target. And a 3-2. Doesn't land super clean, but later in the fight, it will. That's a good defense of that body kick. Now Jared's starting to get that head off the center line a lot more. Goes to the body. Catches that low kick, and follows him down. Sean Strickland was keen to use his grappling now. Usually he's always talking shit about grapplers. Says, I want to do the man dance, but against a power striker like Jared Cannonier. And I'm not faulting him because it's smart, but he's changing his whole tune when it comes to a big, strong gorilla like this dude. Anyways, doesn't really control him here. Jared ends up getting free. Let's move on. Using that jab. Right after that jab, Jared throws that calf kick. That hurt. That stung him. Oh, there he's leaning back. He got caught with that cross. So he's leaning with that jab. He's asking to be calf kicked right after that. Jared goes southpaw, and now Sean's very inactive. He's not throwing anything when Jared's southpaw. He's just waiting. Miss. Jab is a lot less useful against a southpaw. Sean Strickland often, he does that little switch stance off of his exit. He'll switch stance and jab you with the right hand. Just for a split second, he'll switch stances just to get a jab off. Then he'll go back to it and then continue jabbing. His jabs, his crosses, they're all like jabs damn near. Into the second round. Tries to double up on the jab. There's that 3-2 I was talking about. Now he's back trying to circle. He's tricky with that check though. Sometimes when he circles with that check, very tricky with that check. Now you see more and more Jared trying to go to the body, get around that 3-minute mark, and now he's looking to come over the top, looking to try and cut him off with strikes, inching closer. That's what I mean. That's what I mean with the check. Look, he throws the jab. He actually faked the jab because he knew what Jared was doing, and then he circled this way while checking. Jared took a lot off of it, and oftentimes if you target the calf instead of the actual quad of the leg, it doesn't matter if they try to check it or not. You might catch some shin, yeah, but it's not the shin that really hurts you, it's the knee. So yeah, you'll still catch that muscle, which is all you need with that calf kick. So why they're so useful. Saw Jared get a little bit frustrated with not being able to hit him clean. Goes to the body. Oh, that was a good leg kick. You know what that was off of? Jab, leg kick. Jared's back in southpaw, back in orthodox, and leg kick again, off the jab. And then, oh man. See, Jared, this is a more educated version though than you're gonna see with Paulo Costa. Paulo's not gonna switch like that. We didn't see that in the Robert Whittaker fight nor in the Uriah Hall fight, right? He's not gonna switch, throw a left hook or throw a right hook into a cross after throwing a leg kick, right? He's not as educated as Jared Cannonier. I think Jared Cannonier will beat Paulo Costa, but styles make fights, right? Again, You gotta believe that he saw this fight, he watched this fight, he's gonna take advantage of this. And every time you see Sean Strickland's hands come out like this, boom, body, right there, every time. Yeah, you might get hit with a jab or whatnot, but it'll hit you probably on the top of your head, not hurt you that bad. And you get a clean, free shot to the body. You see how squared up he is with Jared Cannonier. So you kind of see the keys to victory, right? The methods that I'm talking about. That was a good jab. Try to chase him with a little like straight blast blitz. There's that 3-2 I was talking about where he kind of wings that overhand. He was kind of testing the waters right there. Now he sees Jared's back on the prowl, back on the pressure. All right, time to move back. Oh, now on to the third round. This is probably the last round we're going to watch before we move on to the next fight. Then Sean's on that check. Then he starts throwing that jab. He doesn't step all the way in on his jab. He's just trying to pop it. He knows he has 4-ounce gloves and that it hurts anyways. So he doesn't try to put everything on that jab. You see how he's jabbing and circling with it. Boom. That one landed. Cannonier's trying to go back to the body. That was a good teep. See how he switches stance and just continues throwing that constant combination, just like all jabs, just touching you. But the judges, when they see that, man, they don't count that. I have a judge as a coach. Like, I know what the judges are looking for. That's why you always see me kind of scoring fights and things like that, man. When they see those little pitter-patter strikes, they really don't. And then they see like one big like overhand that lands, they're gonna count that overhand over all those pitter-patter strikes. That was a good body kick. There's that switch jab from Sean Strickland. Sean's just always ready to touch you, man. Always ready to touch you. Oh, that was a good high up top, or 3 up top, and then 2 down low to the body. That one was checked. That was a good jab from Jared. Oh, that cross landed, but Sean Strickland returned fire. Oh, that was another left hook that landed. Sean has a damn chin though, man. You know why he's getting set up with by these left hooks? It's because of that. Look, man, this is what happens when you start going to Sean Strickland's body, right? Look, Jared Cannonier feints that jab, then he level changes. You see what happens? Sean Strickland's right hand drops. It's part of him keeping his hand so low, right? He keeps this kind of Philly show. His hand drops, and then again it happens. Level change, and bang. Oh, up, his hand drops again. These are just reads that Jared Cannonier is making. His right hand leaves his face a lot when he's moving backwards, which is why those left hooks are there. Whether he's doing that switch stance jab with the right hand is still leaving his face, or whether he's leaning back and parrying, it's still leaving his face, or if he drops it for the body shot, it's still leaving his face. That's why he leans back out of range so much, so he's not getting caught by those left hooks. But you go to the body and it'll bring that head forward. Alright, moving on. So I think we watched enough of that fight. Again, watching these fights isn't to promote or demote either of these fighters. It's just to purely analyze the fight, their holes, the things they do well. So now let's check out the first couple of rounds against Dricus du Plessis for Sean Strickland. Dricus again immediately trying to, and this is Sean Strickland with championship confidence, right? This is his last fight that he had. Uses that right side teep. Let's see what kind of adjustments he makes. Inside low kick, okay. Dricus is also a guy who switches a lot, so very unlike Paulo Costa. Now remember, in this fight, man, Sean Strickland's defense was so on point in the early rounds. It seemed like Dricus couldn't touch him with anything. Like, he checked that leg kick just a little while back. And he seems a lot more willing to stand and press with Dricus, not go backwards. There's that hand coming out. And instead of him teaming with the lead leg, he's doing a lot of back leg teeps. Very interesting. There's that high kick. That was tricky. Boom, you almost got him there. Got Sean leaning backwards. He's starting to try and walk through that jab. That was a good calf kick from Dricus. Tries to come over that jab and isn't able to. And this is Dricus and Sean Strickland, who both have the same amount of reach. So if he's able to get out of the way from from Dricus, and he'll be able to do the same for Paulo. Dricus though shoots and changes up the whole rhythm. Just changes up the whole rhythm of Sean Strickland's strike. And now he has this to worry about. He's not just gonna be able to stand right in front of you. And the reason he was able to even get this takedown, he didn't do much with it, so we're not gonna break that part down. But the reason he was even able to get this shot, look at Sean's stance. Look how tall he is. Yeah, he just defended a kick, so what? Fakes that, and then bang. Draws him back in, fakes the kick, right? Fakes the kick, steps back to draw him back in, and bang, he can just grab the legs. Since Sean Strickland stands so tall, he can actually get a double leg that easily. Yeah, Sean Strickland, it's harder for him to sprawl because he's already standing so tall. His style is made to get takedowns. Now, he has good grappling, he can get back to the feet, right? But the fact that it's so easy to get a takedown, it's almost stupid just to not use it, right? Dricus didn't use it to stay on top or anything or waste energy. He just used it to score some points, get him down, change his rhythm, and he did this throughout the fight. And now, look, now he's able to come forward a little bit more. Sean's still very active with the jab. And granted, Sean Strickland still won this round. That was a good calf kick. That's a good cross from Dricus. Oh my god. Yeah, man, look at this. Now he whips it in there, right? It's a question mark kick that he throws, I believe. Yeah, it's a question mark kick, but look, his hand is not by his head. You see this? This is that bullshit that Sean Strickland does, man. Any closer, that head kick would have knocked him unconscious. You see him trying to come over that jab with that like ridge hand to just kick the calf again. They studied Sean's style very well. Ooh. Again, touches the calf, tries to come back with that overhand. It's literally Dricus doing everything to try and counter Sean Strickland's style. Try and get him to make a mistake in his little mini game. Sean's still staying very good defensively though. Good calf kick again. That's already like 4 or 5 solid calf kicks that Dricus has landed on Sean Strickland. At least back orthodox. There's a slip. Now overhand just keeps catching Sean Strickland. Good calf kick again. Oh, that was good head movement. Good exchange from Sean Strickland. Oh, that was a good body shot. Seems like Dricus is taking over the activity portion of the fight so far this round. Oh, that was a good overhand right from Dricus. He's landing now over that jab. He's starting to find that range. Mixes in a body kick with it. Everything is just trying to go over that guard of Sean Strickland. Because of that Philly shell up, there's the left hook. Again, 3-2. And the takedown. As soon as his coach Eric Nixick started telling him to press, you can see him here in the little corner. He started to tell him to press. And bang, Dricus single leg. Easy takedown. And look, Sean's getting right back into his feet, man. His grappling isn't bad. But just the fact that he was able to, now he has to be on the defense, right? Now he's defensive the whole round. Barely put out any offense that round. And now he has to defend again because Dricus took him down. It's the first layer of defense. It's his footwork. The first layer of defense that's fucked up, right? You see people like Sean O'Malley or Israel, they defend the takedown first by using good footwork. And then they use their hands, then they use their hips. But Sean has to use those hips immediately. And then because he carries his hands the way he does, his hands aren't even in the wrestling fight. And now on to round 3. Again, this is probably the last round. We're not trying to split the fight, right? It's probably the last round we're gonna watch of this fight just to see how he maybe adapts from it, right? There's that head kick again. God damn it. You see his hands flailing out. He's trying to use those frames, trying to use those kung fu blocks almost. That high guard. This is what I mean by high guard, not this. He's just inching closer, inching closer. Good calf kick. And back to the hands. Calf kick again. And you see it's just constant. Now he's beating Strickland his own game. Because he created a system in order to defeat Strickland's style, which is mixing in takedowns, throwing that calf kick, throwing all these overhands, and then a little bit of body work as well. And now Strickland's behind at his own game. This is why Dricus won this fight, man. Just he played the wrong system. Now I'm not saying he's getting beat up. He's not getting beat up. He's just getting outpointed. Now it looks like he's starting to take the lead on the dance again, defending everything. See if he can pick it back up. Oof, that was a good body roundhouse. Good frames to block the 3-2. And, you know, Strickland also did a really good job of not keeping his back against the cage in this fight, whether that's in the grappling or in the striking department. Really good job of circling out early. One thing I do want to watch, so we kind of see the avalanche, right? One thing I really fucking like though is when Sean Strickland had that talk with Eric Nixick in his corner, and they're in the middle of this war, or close to the end of the war, right? Strickland's no longer trying to stay safe. You just saw that jab to that weird overhand that he does. Now he's right here in the pocket, slinging that bar fight hammer. And Dricus tries to shoot a takedown. He's very good about defending that one. Saw that little reset when Dricus switched stances. Now he's back on that jab. See that overhand. Tries to shoot another takedown, stuffed. Again, keeps him defensive though. That was a good cross from Dricus. Strickland does not give a fuck though. He is just swinging. Good job. Good kicks from Dricus. And Dricus he's winning this activity battle. But now Sean's just about to keep working for it. Oh man, you can see it, man. He almost has nothing left in the tank, but he's just gonna keep fighting. Wow, what over here? Oh, throwing clubs. Good knee. He wants this bad, man. You can see why he's so upset about it, because he just wants it. He's throwing everything. Doesn't have to be technical, he's just throwing it. When a coach says go win this fight, this is the type of activity, this is the type of shit you want to see from your fighter. Maybe not that untechnical, maybe not that wild of overhands, but you want to see him fight, man. Anyways, what a fight, guys. That was the film study for Sean Strickland. However, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into Sean Strickland's keys to victory before we head into this official prediction. Now, Sean Strickland, I think in order for him to win this fight, the first key to victory that he needs to do is to set the tone early, man. Paulo Costa, I don't know if he still has it, but he used to have a bit of a bully mentality. To where if you can start getting ahead of him early, like Uriah did, he's gonna start losing steam, right? Then he's gonna start making more mistakes, and it's kind of like a downhill avalanche, right? So I think if Sean Strickland could get started early, hit him with a couple right hands, not just jabs, defend all his shit early, check everything, and be very defensive as well, defensively sound. If he can have a good first round, I think that'll help set the tone. So the first key to victory would be very defensively sound in that first round and hit him with a couple big shots. Second key to victory for Sean Strickland would be to use those leg kicks of his own. The inside leg kick was good, even the outside leg kick. Trying to shut down Paulo Costa's lead leg, I think is pretty imperative. Even if you just throw a side kick to his knee, just trying to stop that forward movement or to off balance him by kicking out his lead leg, I think would be very important from Sean Strickland. So to vary up his low kicks would be his second key to victory. And third key to victory, which would kind of help with both of the first two keys to victory, is I'd like to see Sean Strickland lower his stance a little bit more, man. I'd like to see him come out about 3 or 4 inches lower, a little bit more bend in the knees, a little bit lower stance, a little bit wider stance. That way, maybe he won't be able to check as many kicks as he's able to, but that way he can really start sitting down on his punches. He doesn't have to wing these big wild overhands that are very, he can sit down on some crisp boxing combinations, throwing his right hand in concession with his left hand, maybe adding up on a 4 or 5 punch hard punch combination, something that's really gonna back up Paulo Costa. Because you saw in the Uriah Hall fight, man, you start to show a little bit of fading, or you have your back against the cage a little bit too long, Paulo Costa is going to take advantage of that. That, along with the kicks that he likes to throw, man, I think you just really got to have him respecting your punches, respecting your hands, and those little pitter-patter shots aren't going to do it. That being said, let's go ahead and get into our final thoughts and our official prediction for this fight. In my official prediction, I am choosing Paulo Costa to win this fight, man. I think that it's good that he's getting active right after his loss to Robert Whittaker, because it wasn't a bad showing. He didn't really get hurt that much. He's been inactive so long that maybe if he was active, we might have seen a different result in that Robert Whittaker fight. That paired along with the fact that he does have some educated low kicks. His kicks have gotten a lot faster. We've seen the way Sean Strickland approaches these heavier handed guys. I think that it's all just a recipe in Paulo Costa's favor. However, considering he's the underdog, I'd say put your money on him and he's a pretty safe bet. But with that being said, I could still see it being a very close fight, and also a fucking decision with with Sean Strickland and the way he fights, the way he point fights, especially if he doesn't make any of the changes I just named. I can see it being a split decision going either way, to be honest. But considering the fact that Paulo Costa has been willing to adapt his style more than Sean Strickland has been willing to adapt his style in the past, I'm going to be taking Paulo Costa in this one. Guys, let me know your thoughts, your official prediction, and what you think about this fight. Are you guys excited to watch UFC 302? I can't wait. Don't forget to check it out, my reaction to UFC 302, because that's going to be coming out right after the event. I am going to be out of town, so it's going to be a little bit different, but it should be fun anyways. But anyways, guys, thank you for stopping by the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.